की जाय। निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोस्वामी श्रील गुरुदेव की जाय। निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोस्वामी महाराज की जाय। निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय। निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतरशत भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपाद शतरशत भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गोरक्षर बाबूजी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूपनु गौरिया गुरु वर्ग की जाय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जाय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाय। नाम अचय श्रीहरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट विदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय। श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जाय। सारार्थ-दार्शिनी वृत्ति की जाय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। स्वागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। ओके नाउ हरे कृष्णा राजभुवन यादव जी। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदाते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः। वे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालय कृष्णाय कृष्णभय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। यं पर्यन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं वैपायन विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मया तरभिनेदुस्तं सार्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां कथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतं। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवा भागवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधक्षय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये Kripāmayi tvam sharana prapana vrinde namaste charanaram. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol, say Śrīmata ji, and I see your message, Yeshwara Didi. You said it is breaking a little bit, but you can understand so far. All right. Well, thanks for letting me know. Let me pick yours. So today I wasn't planning on reading so long. I have a lot to do. There isn't much left in this chapter. First, before we start, let's go over. So we've chapter 15, the killing of Dhenuka, the ass demon. So we read the first 14 verses yesterday of this chapter. Very sweet verses. So I'll just read the translations to catch us up. Text 1. Shukadev Goswami said, when Lord Ram and Lord Krishna attained, Lord Ram means Balaram, when Lord Ram and Lord Krishna attains the aid of Poganda, 6 to 10, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherd allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. Verse 2. Thus desiring to enjoy pastimes, Lord Madhav sounds flute, surrounded by cowherd boys who were chanting his glories, and accompanied by Lord Baladev, kept the cows before him, and entered the Vrindavan forest, which was full of flowers and rich with nourishment for the animals. The Supreme Personality of Godhead looked over the forest, which resounded with the charming sounds of bees, animals, and birds, enhanced by a lake whose clear water resembled the minds of great souls, and by a breeze carrying the fragrance of 100-petaled lotuses. Seeing all this, Lord Krishna decided to enjoy the auspicious atmosphere. The primeval Lord saw that the stately trees, with their beautiful reddish buds and their heavy burden of fruit flowers, were bending down to touch his feet with the tips of their branches. Thus he smiled gently and addressed his elder brother. The personality of Godhead said, O greatest of lords, just see how these trees are bowing their heads at your lotus, which are worshipable by the immortal demigods. The trees are offering you their fruits and flowers to eradicate the dark ignorance that has caused their trees. O original personality, these bees must all be great sages and most elevated devotees of yours, for they are worshipping you by following you along the path and chanting your glories, which are themselves a holy place for the entire world. Though you have disguised yourself within this forest, O sinless one, they refuse to abandon you, their worshipable Lord. O worshipable one, these peacocks are dancing before you out of joy. These does are pleasing you with the affectionate glances, just as the gop, and these cuckoos are honoring you with Vedic. All these residents of the forest are most fortunate, and their behavior toward you certainly befits great souls receiving a at home. The earth has now become most fortunate because you have touched her grass and your feet, and her trees and creepers with your fingernails, and because you have graced her rivers, mountains, birds, and animals with your merciful glances. But above all, you have embraced the young cowherd women between your two arms, a favor hankered after by the goddess of fortune herself. Shukadeva Goswami said, thus expressing his satisfaction with the beautiful forest of Vrindavan and its inhabitants, Lord Krishna enjoyed tending the cows and other animals with his friends on the bank of the river Yamuna, below Govardhan Hill. Times the honeybees in Vrindavan became so mad with ecstasy that they closed their eyes and began to sing. Lord Krishna, moving along the forest path with his cowherd boyfriends and Baladev, would then respond to the bees by imitating their singing while his friends sang about his pasts. Sometimes Lord Krishna would imitate the chat of a parrot, sometimes with a sweet voice, the call of a cuckoo, and sometimes the cooing of swans. Sometimes he fiercely imitated the dancing of a peacock, making his cowherd boyfriends laugh. Sometimes, with a voice as the rumbling of clouds, he would call out with great affection the names of the animals who had wandered far from the herds, enchanting the cows and cowherd boys. Sometimes he would cry out an imitation of birds, such as the chakoras, kronchas, chakravas, bharadwajas, and peacocks. Sometimes he would run away with his smaller animals in mock fear of lions and tigers. When his elder brother, fatigued from playing, would lie down with his head upon the lap of a cowherd boy, Lord Krishna would help him relax by massaging his feet and offering other services. Okay, so that's where we read up to yesterday. Let me see if everybody is here. Raji. All right, so nobody mentioned anything about it breaking up anymore, so I will continue. Nrityato gayata kvapi valgato yudato mita grihita hasto gopalan hasanto pratusatu. Sometimes, as the cowherd boys danced, sang, moved about, and playfully fought with each other, Krishna and Balaram, standing nearby hand in hand, would glorify their friends' activities and laugh. There were Indira Mataji and Madhavi DDR. One second, just. Commentary. Krishna and Balaram would laugh while glorifying the dancing, jumping, and fighting of the cowherd boys. Hari Bol, Shar Prabhu. Oops, one second, sorry. Kvachit palavakalpeshu niyuddha shramakarshita vriksha mula shaya shete gopotsangopabarhana. Sometimes Lord Krishna grew tired from fighting and lay down at the base of a tree, resting upon a bed made of soft twigs and buds, and using the lap of a cowherd cowherd friend as his pillow. These windows better. Padasambhahanam chakru kechittasya mahatmana hata papamano vyajanai samavijayan. Some of the cowherd boys, who were all great souls, would then massage his, and others, qualified by being free of all sin, would expertly fan the Supreme Lord. Anyatarānurupāni manogyāni mahatmana gayanti smar maharaja snehaklina dhiya shanai. My dear king, other boys would sing enchanting songs appropriate to the occasion, and their hearts would melt out of love for the Lord. Commentary. Oh, and I'm reading from the Sārārtha-darśinī by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura, by the way. The boys sang songs suitable to the particular pastime. Tar anurupani. Evam niguratma gati swamayaya gopatma jatvam charitar vidambayan remiramalita pada pallavo gramyai samam gramya varishya cheshtita. Commentary. Oops, I didn't read the translation. In this way, the Supreme Lord, whose soft lotus feet are personally by the goddess of fortune, concealed his opulences by his internal potency and acted just like an acted son of a cowherd. Yet, even while enjoying like a village boy in the company of other village residents, he often exhibited feats only God could perform. Commentary. Krishna covered his transcendental opulences with his internal potency, yoga, and played as a simple cowherd boy, despite being the son of a king. The word Gopa can mean protector of the earth as well as protector of the cows. Though his lotus feet are constantly served by the goddess, Krishna hid that fact and played like an ordinary boy with his friends. Krishna usually concealed his unlimited powers. Sometimes he displayed amazing prowess when engaged in such pastimes as killing demons. Shri Dama Namagopalo Ramakevaya Sakha Subala Stoka Krishnadya Gopa Premne Dama Bruvan. Once, cowherd boys, Shri Dama, a very close friend of Ram and Krishna, along with Subal, Stoka Krishna, and others, lovingly spoke the following words. Hari Bol Madhavi Didi, I was just wondering where you were. I just mentioned it. Commentary. This verse begins a description of the power of Krishna and Balaram mentioned in the previous verse. The word premna, with love, indicates that the requests the cowherd boys are about to make is motivated by love, not selfish desire. Thus, under the guise of wanting to get the tal fruit themselves, the cowherd boys actually wanted to offer the delicious fruits to Krishna and Balaram. Rama Rama Mahaho Krishna Dushta Nibarhana Ito Viduru Mahar Vanam Talali Sankulam. The cowherd boys said, O Ram, Ram, mighty armed one, O Krishna, destroyer of the miscreants. Not far from here is a very great forest filled with rows of palm trees. Commentary. Within a short distance of 8 miles from Govardhan, there is a very large forest called Talali. The Varaha Puran says, about 1 yojana, 8 miles west of Mathura, is the forest known as Van. This should be understood to be southwest, as that is where it actually lies. There is a forest filled with trees, or ali can mean bees. So tall trees and bees. 22. Falani tatra bhurini patanti pitatani cha santi kintva varudhani dhenukena atmana. In that Talavan forest, many fruits are falling from the trees, And many, sorry, these are the kids, these are the boys speaking. In that Talvan forest, many fruits are falling from the trees, and many are already lying on the grounds. But all the fruits are being guarded by the evil Dhenuka. The cowherd commentary. The cowherd boy said, "The trees are dark in color like honeybees, and thus they must have very tasty fruits. But the fruits are under control of Dhenukāsura. O Ram, this is a test of your valor. O Krishna, let us see how you vanquish evil. The Sakya bhav we have for you will not be restricted by this show of power. Rather, your show of courage will increase our Sakya ras." 23. Sotivyo suro Rama, He Krishna kararupadrik, matulya balar anyar, gyati bhir bahubhir vrita. O Ram, O Krishna, Dhenuka is a most powerful demon and has assumed the form of an ass. He is surrounded by many friends who have assumed a similar shape and who are just as powerful as he. Tasmat kreta naraharad bhitar nribhi amitrahan sevyate kanai pakshi sangar vivarjitam. The demon Dhenuka has eaten men alive, and therefore all people and animals are terrified of going to Tala forest. O killer of the enemy, even the birds are afraid to fly there. Yikes. Commentary. The cowherd boys incite Krishna and Balaram's fighting spirits by describing the demon's strength. But in front of you, the bravery of the demon and his cohorts will become like flowers in the sky. Let us go, relieve the residents of their fear, your blessings upon those who want to enjoy the tal fruits. This is the intention of this verse. Vidyante bhukta purvani phalani sabhini cha esha vaisurabhir gandho vishuchino vagriyate. In the tall forest are sweet smelling fruits no one has ever tasted. Indeed, even now we can smell the fragrance of the tall fruits spreading all about. Prayacha tanina Krishna gandhalo bhita chetasam panchasti mahati ama kamyatam yadirochate. O Krishna, please eat those fruits for us. Our minds are so attracted by their aroma. Dear Balaram, our desire to have those fruits is very great. It's a good idea. Let's go to that tall forest. Oops, did I skip? I think I skipped this verse, right? Okay, I'll just read it anyways. This commentary. In which direction is in the tall forest are sweet smelling fruits that indeed, even now we can fragrance of the tall fruits. Okay. So, in which direction is the tall forest? This verse answers. The sweet fragrance of the tall fruits was carried by the easterly winds of the month of Bhadra, August, September. Thus, the forest is east here. And then the coward boys say, please let's go get those fruits for us. Our minds are so attracted by their aroma. Dear Balaram, our desire to have those fruits is very great. If you think it's a good idea, let's go to that tall forest. So then, commentary. Krishna, give the fruits to us, because we have a great desire. Evam suhrit vacha shrutva suhrit priya chikirshaya prasya jagmatur gopar totalavanam prabhu.
Hearing the words of their dear companions, Krishna and Balaram laughed, and desiring to please them, set off for the tall forest surrounded by their cowherd boyfriends. Commentary. How can a donkey be so strong? That's impossible. Therefore, Krishna and Balaram laughed loudly. Their friends must be telling a lie. Bala pravishya bahubhyam talam samparikampayan falani patayamasa matangrad kaja yojasa. Lord Balaram entered the tall forest first. Then, with his two arms, he began forcefully shaking the trees with the power of a maddened elephant, causing the tall fruits to fall to the ground. Valam patatam shabdam nishamya surarasabha abhyadhava kshiti talam sanagam parikampayan. Hearing the sounds of the falling fruits, the ass demon ran forward to attack, making the earth and trees tremble. Commentary. The earth shook along with the trees as Dhenukāsura ran towards Balaram. Verse 30. Samsatarasa pratyag dvabhyam padbhyam balang bali nihatyo rasika shabdam munchan parya sarat kala. One second. Somebody sent me a message. Okay, never mind. Already read this, right? Samita tarasa pratyag dvabhyam. Yes, I did. The powerful demon rushed up to Lord Baladev and sharply struck the Lord's chest with the hooves of his hind legs. Then Dhenu began to run about, braying loudly. Oh no. Commentary. After kicking Balaram in the chest with his hind legs, Dhenuka ran around, making ugly braying sounds. Punar asadya sangrabdha upakroshta paragstita charavaparo rajan palaya prakshipar urusha. Moving toward Lord Balaram, O king, the furious ass situated himself with his back toward the Lord. Then, screaming in rage, the demon hurled his two hind legs. Commentary. Furious ass showed his back toward Balaram and screamed in rage. Satam grihitva papadyor brahmayitvaikapanina chikshepa trinarajagre brahmana tyakta jivitam. Lord Balaram seized Dhenuka by his hooves, whirled him about with one hand, and threw him into the top of a palm tree. The violent wind killed the demon. Commentary. Balaram seized Dhenukāsura by his hooves, whirled him around, and threw him in the top of a tall tree. Nahato mahatalo vepamaya chira parshvastam kampayan bhagna sachanyang sopichaparam. Lord Balaram threw the dead Dhenukāsura into the tallest palm tree in the forest, and when the dead demon landed in the treetop, the tree began shaking. The great palm tree, causing the tree by its side to also shake, broke under the weight of the demon. The neighboring tree caused yet another tree to shake, and this one struck at another tree, which also began shaking. In this way, many trees in the forest shook and broke, caused a domino effect. Lila yotsrishta kharadeha hata hata talaschampire sarve mahavaterita iva. Because of Lord Balaram's pastime of throwing the body of the ass demon into the top of the tallest palm tree, all the trees began shaking against one another, as if blown about by powerful winds. Commentary: the heavy body of Dhenukāsura, all the tall trees shake severely, as if blown by strong winds. Naitach chitram bhagavati yanantishvare ottaprot idam yasmings tantushvanga yatha pata. My dear Parikshit, that Lord Balaram killed Dhenukāsura is not such a wonderful thing, considering that he is the unlimited personality of Godhead, the controller of the entire universe. Indeed, the entire cosmos rests upon him, just as a woven cloth rests upon its own horizontal and vertical threads. Commentary: this was not astonishing to Baladev, who supports the entire universe just as woven cloth rests upon its own horizontal and vertical threads. Tata Krishnam charamyam cha gyatayo dhenukasya ye krustarobhyadravam sarve samgrabdha hatabandhava. As other ass demons, close friends of Dhenukāsura. So I keep on getting something stuck in my throat. As the other ass demons, close friends of Dhenukāsura, were enraged upon seeing his death, and thus they all immediately ran to attack Krishna and Balaram. Tangstan apatata Krishna Ramaschandripalilaya Gihita Paschatcharanam Prahinotrena Rajasu. O king, as the demons attacked, Krishna and Balaram easily seized them one after another by their hind legs and threw them all into the tops of the palm trees. Falapakara sankirnam daitya dehar gatubi raja bhusatalankar ghanar iva navastalam. The earth then appeared beautifully covered with heaps of fruits and with the dead bodies of the demons. Beautifully covered with the dead bodies of demons, which were entangled in the broken tops of the palm trees. Indeed, the earth shone like the sky decorated with clouds. The earth is splendid with the piles of dark blue toppers spread out everywhere. The bodies of the dead demons looked like dark blue clouds resting in the broken branches of the tall, which appeared as splendid as red clouds covering the sky at sunset due to being tinged with the red blood of the demons. Never going to look at the sunset the same way. 39. Ayostatsu mahat karma nimya vibhudaya nishamya vibhudadhaya mumuchu pushpa varshani Vadyani tushruvu. Hearing this magnificent feat of the two brothers, the demigods and other elevated living beings rained down flowers and offered music and prayers in glorification. Atatala palanyadan manusyagat sadvasa trinam cha pashavashcheur hatta dhenukāsura. People now felt free to return to the forest where Dhenuka had been killed. And with that, they ate the fruits of the palm trees. Oh, 1 second. Also, the cows could now graze freely upon the grass there. Commentary. The Pulindas and other low-class people of Vrindavan ate the tal fruits. Krishna's cowherd boys, however, considered the fruits detestable, since they had been contaminated with the blood of the asses. Krishna kamala patraksha punya shravana kirtana stuyamno nugargo pai sagrajo vrajamavrajat. The lotus-eyed Krishna, whose glories are most pious to hear and chant, returned home to Vraj with his elder brother Balaram. Along the way, the cows, his faithful followers, chanted his glories. Commentary. Krishna's return home to Vraj is described in 3 verses. Krishna, who enchants the hearts of all the Vrajvasis, whose lotus petal eyes attracts the eyes of all, and whose flute songs create good fortune for the ears, returned home to Vraj amidst the cowherd boys whose glories. Verse 42. Tam Gora Jurita Kuntala Baddha Barha Prasuna Ruchirekshana Charusam Venung Vanantam Anubarupagita Gopyo Didrikshita Vidrisho Bhyagaman Sameta. Lord Krishna's hair, powdered with the dust raised by the cows, was decorated with a peacock feather and forest flowers. The Lord glanced charmingly and smiled beautifully, playing upon his flute, while his companions chanted his glories. The gopis, all together, came forward to meet him, their eyes very eager to see him. Commentary. In this verse, the gopis are described in particular. The young gopis came forward to meet Krishna, whose locks of hair were powdered with the dust rose and decorated with forest flowers and a peacock feather, and who glanced charmingly and smiled attractively. Another meaning. Krishna's glance emitted a beautiful song. The gopis' eyes had a strong desire to see Krishna, so they could not follow the order of their minds to give up watching Krishna because of shyness. Becoming independent and jealous of the ears hearing Krishna's flute, and the nostrils smelling his fragrance, the eyes gave up the shelter of the gopis and went to Krishna by themselves in order to gain the treasure of Krishna's charming glances. Whoa! I think I need to read that again. Let me just... Krishna's glance emitted a beautiful song. The gopis' eyes had a strong desire to see Krishna, so they could not follow the order of their minds to give up watching Krishna because of shyness. The eyes became independent and jealous of the ears hearing Krishna's flute, and the nostrils smelling his fragrance. The eyes gave up the shelter of the gopis and went to Krishna by themselves in order to gain the treasure of Krishna's charming glances. While leaving their houses to go forward to Krishna, the gopis said to their husbands, "Are you going to stop me or kill me?" Whoa. That's a really awesome commentary. I want to save that. Let me just... I'll just highlight it. Pitva mukunda sorry. Pitva mukunda mukasang saragamakshi bhringais tapam jahujam vrajayoshitohni tatsat-kritim samadhikamya vivesha goshtam savredaha savinayam yarapanga moksham. Translation. With their bee-like eyes, the women of Vrindavan drank the honey of the beautiful face of Lord Mukunda, and thus they gave up the distress they had felt during the day because of separation from him. The young Vrindavan ladies cast sidelong glances at the Lord, glances filled with bashfulness, laughter, and submission, and Sri Krishna, completely accepting these glances as a proper offering of respect, entered the cowherd village. Commentary. What did the gopis do to Krishna? This verse answers the question. Eyes, the Vraj gopis drank the Mukunda's beautiful, sweet face. The gopis, who were not seen by Krishna, did not just upon him, but they stared at Krishna with wide open eyes when no one was looking. Then, catching Krishna's attention, those gopis broke into smiles out of joy. But due to bashfulness, they stopped their open eyes and smiles by covering their mouths with their left hand and pulling their veils over their eyes. This showed the gopis' sense of submission. Thus, the gopis displayed all moods of chaste girls who look upon their beloveds with shyness, jubilation, and submission. Taking their gazing as an offering from their gazing as an offering from their hearts, Krishna became aware of the great sweetness of the gopis' love. Fully accepting those glances with complete relish, that supreme master of romantic arts entered the village. There is a meaning in the two actions of offering, accepting, bashful smiling. The gopis' offering of respect was their bashful laughing, submission, and sidelong glances. Krishna accepted their offering by responding with enchanting glances. One can be seen as follows. Taking the flower of their glances offered by servants called the Sanjabhav of enthusiasm in the hands of their eyes, and taking the flower of their smells offered by the servants called the Sanchari-bhava of joy in their hands, made of their delicate lips. Anyways, you get that, right? The Vraj gopis approached Krishna saying, "Please accept these offerings, which are all that we have in our house." So the flower of his, which was offered by the servants of Sanchari enthusiasm, and the hand eyes. And then the flower of the smiles, offered by the servants of the Sanchari Bhava of joy, and their hands made of their delicate lips. Okay, beautiful. When Krishna engaged his servant in the form of his glance to accept the gifts, his crafty glance became eager to steal the gifts, which were previously kept in the gopis' houses. Therefore, Krishna withdrew his glance to himself. When the gopis offered these gifts again, Krishna's glance freed itself and quickly approached the gopis to steal the two gifts with the vigor of a warrior. But then a Saki in the form of bashfulness, who has the power to cover things, suddenly appeared and hid the two gifts. Then another Saki, named Vinay, suddenly arrived, and a fight broke out between them. Krishna's servant in the glance, however, forcibly took the gift from the gopis' glances along with bashfulness and submission, and offered. Receiving these three like a precious jewel, Krishna carefully placed them upon the altar and the temple of his heart. This is the implication of the word Sat-kritim, offering. Although bashfulness and other words have their own they have their own power of implication, because Satkritim and Moksha have such deep meanings, they have been explained here in detail. Wow, that was a phenomenal purport. Okay, another meaning is as follows. As Krishna respectfully accepted the shy glances, which were like bashful smiles, and entered the accepted the gopi shy glances, and he entered the village, the young women of Braj gave up the pain of separation they had felt from him during the day. Verse 44. Let's read from here. Tayor Yashodarohinyo putrayo putravatsale kamam yata kalam vyadattang paramashisha. Mother Yashoda and Mother Rohini, acting most affectionately toward their two sons, offered all the best things in response to their every desire and at the various appropriate times. Commentary. Mother Yashoda and Rohini lovingly offered varieties of wonderful food for the pleasure of Krishna and Balaram. They also made sure that boys ate at the proper time, rather than forbidden times like sunset. Didn't know you're not supposed to eat at sunset. Katadhana shramo tatra majano mardhanadhibhi eving vasitva ruchiram divyasra gandham mandito. By being bathed and massaged, the two young lords were relieved of the weariness caused by walking on country roads. Then they were dressed in attractive robes and decorated with transcendental gardens and fragrance. Commentary. Actually, Krishna and Balaram were ashramo, not weary, because they are God. However, playing the part of humans, they appeared, and thus the word shramo is used. After entering their house, Krishna and Balaram were relieved of their apparent tiredness from walking on by bathing and dressing in attractive robes. Jananyupahritam prashya swadyanam upalalito samveshya varashayayam sukam sushupatur vraje. After dining sumptuously on the delicate food given them by their mothers and being pampered in various ways, the two boys lay in excellent beds and happily went to sleep in the village of Vraj. Evam sa Bhagavan Krishna Vrindavana Charakvachit Yayor Mam Rite Rajan Kalindim Sakibir Vritaha. O King, the Supreme Lord Krishna wandered about the Vrindavan area, performing his pastimes. Once, surrounded by his boyfriends, he went with Balaram to the Yamuna river. Every time Krishna separated from Balaram, there was some trouble. Commentary. After finishing the description of the Gopashtami Pan Kartik, the pastimes in summer are told. Balaram was not present because Rohini kept him home to take a Shanti bath on his birthday. And Balaram's last birthday, Brahma stole all the cat, right? He ate. Ata gavash gopascha nidhagata pandit pidita tushtam jalam papustasyas trishnarta vishudushritam. At that time, the cows and cowherd boys were feeling some acute they were feeling acute distress from the glaring summer sun. Afflicted by thirst, they drank the water of the Yamuna river, but it had been contaminated with poison. Commentary. Ignoring Krishna, who was walking slowly behind, the cows ran quickly toward the water they ran quickly toward the Yamuna to slake their intense thirst. The cowherd boys ran after them. Vishambhastar upasrishya daivopahata chetasa nipetur vyasava sarve salilante kuru. Vikshatan vaitata bhutam Krishna yogeshwareshwara ikshayamritavaršinya svanathan samajivayat. As soon as they touched the poisoned water, all the cows and boys lost their consciousness by the divine power of the Lord and fell lifeless at the water's edge. O hero of the Kurus, seeing them in such a condition, Lord Krishna, the master of all potency, felt compassion for these devotees who had no Lord other than him. Thus he immediately brought them back to life by showing his nectarian glance on them. By showering his nectarian glance upon them. Commentary. The word Deva means belonging to Deva, the Lord. The cows and cowherd boys, whose intelligence was covered by Krishna's Shakti, appeared to lose their lives, though they are eternal. Krishna covered them with his yogamaya potency to perfect his pastimes. Tem prasmritaya samhaya jalantikat asansu vismita sarve vyamana parasparam. Regaining their full consciousness, the cowboys stood up out of the water and began to look at one another in great astonishment. Commentary. Returning to consciousness, the cowherd boys thought, "We were dead, so how did we come back to life? What medicine mantra was used to remove the poison?" Thus, looking at one another in great surprise, they spoke with their eyes. "Friend, do you know the secret?" Then one Saka answered a glance. "I know how we were saved." Then he spoke. "Listen, remember the naming ceremony of Krishna where Gargacharya said, this child will very easily save you from all dangers. This is the secret." And with complete absorption, all the cowherd boys remembered Krishna, their most lovable object. By this, they all became astonished. Anvamam satadradan govindo grahekshitam visham paritasya punar uttanamatmanam. O king, cowherd boys then considered that although they had drunk poison and in fact had died, simply by the merciful glance of Govinda, they saved their lives and stood up by their own strength. Commentary. The cowherd boys concluded positively that although they had drunk poison and died, they were revived by the merciful glance of Govinda, who was empowered by Lord Narayan, the worshipable deity of Nanda Maharaj. Thus ends the commentary on the 15th chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. Alright, so tomorrow we will hear how Krishna chastises the serpent Kaliya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhar Ki Hari, Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashata Shishmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai, Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashata Shishmad Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashata. I'm distracting myself. I need to focus on money. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Vishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitila Pravishtam Bhagavad Gita Raj Ki Jai, Nitila Vishwa Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura Ki Jai, Nitila Vishwa Vaishnava Bhoma Shri Jagannath Ji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupna Gaudiya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Shri Rupa Sanatan Raghunath, Shiv Gopal Patadasha Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Sutamodar Rai Radari Shri Gopal Shada Vrinda Ki Jai, Nama Jai Shri Haridas Ṭhākura Jai, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय, श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाय, सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाता महाराज की जाय, श्री राधा श्यामा की जाय, श्री देवी देवी की जाय, श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय, श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय, श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जाय, श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय, श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय, श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय, श्री सारदार्शिनी वृत्ति की जय, श्री हरि से धेनुकासुर की जय, श्री दाव भाया की जय, कृष्ण कन्हैया की जय, श्री निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव कृष्ण भक्ति प्रद देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Dandava pranams everybody. See you tomorrow see you tomorrow for the killing of Kaliya. Not killing of Kaliya, sorry. For tired right now. For the pastime of Krishna subduing Kaliya. Hari Bol.